All right, folks. So today we're going to be looking at changing what we call a standard form into slope-intercept form. Now, slope-intercept form is what we did in the prior lesson. So here's what we're talking about. Okay, I want to be able to take the standard form. Okay, learn it well, and I want to convert it into y equals mx plus b. Why do I want to do that? Because I want to be able to graph based off of this, or find a slope, or find a y-intercept from the standard form. Okay, and the way we do this is actually a kind of a two-step process. You know, we're going to either add or subtract the ax value from the equal sign, and then we're going to divide by the b value. Okay, that's the most common method that you're going to use. Okay, so if you're given a problem, you know, and the question becomes, you know, what are the zeros, what are the y-intercept, and what is the slope of the graph? If you're given this equation, you know, what would you do with that? Well, I'm going to use a method, what I call the zero and divide method, okay? And some people might call it the cover and divide method, but I want to call it the zero and the divide method because I want you to understand why this works and works well, okay? So for the zero, first of all, know that that's your x-intercept. If you don't remember that, okay, that's okay. This is why we do this. That's your x-intercept, okay? So what happens is whenever we have an x-intercept, that basically means that the value of y is equal to 0. And so what happens is if we put a 0 in for y, this cancels out, so all you have is 6x is equal to 18. Okay, so then we divide by 6 to both sides, and we figure out that the x-intercept happens to be 3, or the 0 happens to be 3. Okay, so that means that the x-intercept is at 3, 0. Okay, if we wanted to do the y-intercept, okay, if we wanted to do the y-intercept, what we know is the fact that whenever that is the case, that x is equal to 0. Okay, that means if we drop a 0 here, this whole thing becomes 0, and all you have to do is divide by -9 to both sides. You know that y is equal to -2. And so what you know is that the y-intercept has a coordinate of 0, -2. Okay, pretty nice if you want to graph some lines using this method. So now, what happens if you want to find the slope of the same line? Okay. We're going to solve for y. And here's how you do it. And again, I'm going to make this try and make this as straightforward as possible. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 6x to both sides. Now here's kind of the thing. I cannot actually subtract 6x. I'm actually just moving it to the other side so that I still have -6x. Sorry, let me delete that. Plus 18. So don't actually subtract it from 18, okay? It's a common mistake that happens. Then I want to divide by -9 to everything, okay? And if I do this, what happens is that I get y equals -6 and -9 becomes a positive 2/3 x, and then 18 divided by 9 becomes a -2. Okay, so that the slope itself is equal to 2/3. Okay? And that's what we're doing with this lesson. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some exercises here. And I would pause it at this point and practice some of these before you watch me do them. But if not, I'm just going to go. I need to learn how to add music to my videos. Okay. I'm going to set them all to y equals first before I do anything else. So I would practice that first. Notice how I left this one in fraction form. That's actually what you kind of want on these. Okay, so now I'm going to do the x and y intercepts and the slope. Okay, so first of all, slope. Let me do it this way. So if I have x minus y is equal to 12. Okay, so again, if I zero this guy out, that means that y is equal to negative 12. If I zero this guy out, that means that x is equal to 12. So my y-intercept would be 0, negative 12. My x-intercept would be 12, 0. Okay, and then my slope is going to be 1. On this guy, the second one, I don't want to do yellow. Again, if I do 3x plus 2y is equal to 12, and I do 3x plus 2y is equal to 12. So again, if I zero this guy out and divide by 2, I know that y is equal to 6. And if I zero this guy out and divide by 3, I know that my x is equal to 4. So my y-intercept is 0, 6. My x-intercept is 4, 0. Okay. And then on this one, I think I'm just writing everything. Hindsight, I should have done it the other way, but it's okay. So if I zero out this and divide by negative 7, my x is going to be negative 6. So my x-intercept would be negative 6, 0. If I zero this guy out, then divide by 3, then my y is going to equal to 14, or 0, 14 for my y-intercept. Okay. Then my slopes, I'm going to color in purple. So this is slope, 7/3. This is slope, -3/2. And then this is slope, which is 1. Okay. I know that seems like a lot, but this is a skill that you really want to get used to going forward. So I'm going to work the rest out. I'll let you practice on these. I would pause it and do it before anything else. But I really want to get to this last problem here. This is what I'm talking about, because this actually works really well. I'll go back and do the other ones in a second. So at that point, if you want to stop and you can just get to your assignment, you can. So here's why we do the x and y intercepts the way we do them. And I think this works really well. So I want to graph this line without having to change it and convert it. So one way we can do it is if I take my equation, and I do both of them actually. So if I zero my y out and divide by 2, I know that my x is equal to 2, or 2, 0. If I zero my x out, then I know that y is going to be equal to -4, or 0, -4. So if I take those 2 points and I plot them, there's 2, 0. There's 0, -4. I know that my line looks like this. Okay, and that's the reason why we do the slopes the way we do them. Okay, kind of interesting, kind of cool. Fast way of doing it. Okay, I'll show you the next one. Again, if you want to pause it and do it before you watch me do it, then go for it. By force is basically a little bit past 1. It's about right there. So it's not going to be perfect, but it looks something like that again. Anyway. But that's how you do it. So I'm going to go back now to the other ones. I'm just going to kind of work through them. I'm not going to probably say anything else at this point. So you can at least practice them before you get to your quiz assignment piece. And go from that point on. So again, I'm just going to basically tell you what those answers are. So you can try it. If you try it, great. If you don't, I mean, it's not going to... That's the x-intercept. That's the y-intercept. And then there's your slope. There's your x-intercept. There's your y-intercept. There's your slope. There's your x-intercept. There's your y-intercept. There's your slope. And the last three, and again, at this point, if you think you got it, you know, get to it. But I'm just going to finish this off, and we'll go from that point on. There's your x-intercept. There's your y-intercept. There's your slope. There's your x-intercept. There's your y-intercept. And again, at any point, if you want to pause to try to work these out before I do them, do so, because it's good practice. So there's your slope. Last one, folks. Last one. There's your x-intercept. There's your y-intercept. There's your slope. Anyway, so there it is. X and Y intercepts using the zero divide method, and then solving for y equals mx plus b. It's a skill you're going to need for the rest of the year. So practice, 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 and then practice some more. until you are absolutely confident that you got it. All right. Other than that, that's pretty much what there is. That's what you're working on today. So we'll see you later.